it done. 3 coats.
Light switches, radio, cell phone mount, external speaker, USB ports. Real nice and clean.
When it's all said and done, press brake right there, down, another one right there, down.
Golly. All the covers. So many.
Oh, that's a lot of light.
Action!
So, first of all, I need to apologize. It has been way too long since a Bronco update video. So we took the Bronco to King of the Hammers. It was amazing. Got it back and we were just daily driving it. We were having a ball, having a good time. And one day we just lost power. We barely could even get it on the trailer. Got it back to the BK shop and I was trying to diagnose it during the week, and then I'd drive down here and work on it on the weekends. Well, while I was diagnosing it, me and my wife decided to build a house. So we sold our house, moved into a camper, and it was hard for me to get down here to work on it. So the Bronco kind of took a back seat. So for now, or we'll talk about the Bronco more in just a second. For now, let's roll that footage from 8 months ago.
Now, one thing we have been concentrating on has been the suspension. And we've kind of let the interior just kind of not be that good. We tried to figure out what we were gonna do. We thought about doing some seat covers. And you know what? When we got the sport cage, it's like, you know, let's just go ahead. Let's get some seats. Let's put some seats in it. And of course, the first seat company that came to mind was PRP. We called them up, see what they recommended. And they recommended a daily driver seat. They kind of recommended this because it's easier to get in and out of. And of course, we didn't really need them to lean, so the daily driver is what we went with. And also, I got really excited, and I went ahead and put these seats in the back, but they're not fastened down. One thing I determined was that I was gonna have to take my front seats out first, get them where they needed to be before I ever started messing with the rear. We found some brackets that actually bolt to the Ford factory sliders that fit directly to PRPs. Awesome. This shouldn't take very long to do. Let's go ahead and start tearing these seats out. Oh. So one of the biggest reasons for keeping the factory Bronco slider is it actually has 2 stages. It doesn't only slide. It doesn't only slide for you to move the seat forward and backwards for more or less legroom in the front and the back, but it has like a second stage that actually allows the seat to slide even further forward and almost hit the dash. That way you can kind of climb in the back. Now, these brackets came with an integrated little lever that activates the second slide and allows the seat to come all the way up. Now, it's not quite as big as it was. I could get in there, but I don't plan on doing it very often. Another thing I was concerned with using the factory sliders was going to be head height or distance from the roof. And I don't know if you can actually see it from there, but we're about, what's that, 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches from the roof. So I put my old seat back in, didn't bolt it down, just set it in here so we can do an actual comparison real quick. Look at that. It's actually a little less. This seat actually sits higher than the PRP seat. That's gonna be nice. Now that we got the front seat set, I know how much wiggle room I have to mount the back seats. So we got everything mocked up. The front seats were really easy. Brackets made it really easy to do. But for the rear seats, I had to add some bars to the Desolate cage. As you can see right here, I've got this. This would be the bar for the front bolts for the seats. And I had to add this bar as well for the back mounts for the seats. We also got all of our tabs in here for the PRP harnesses, also for the fifth point of the harness. And as you can tell, everything's all painted and ready to go. Once I got that mocked up, I actually pulled the cage out, and we had just the bare floor. And we realized when we were in California that we really had to do something a little better for some sound deadening. So we got some sound deadening material. We went with the vinyl floor, which kind of makes sense for us here in Alabama, always wet, you know, instead of going with carpet. It was pretty easy to install. So we put some nice sound deadening down all in the back, all in here. We've got the batting sound deadening underneath this. Got the vinyl in, trim to fit, cage is painted, it's in, all our gear's in. Now it's time to install the seats and the harnesses. Just can't quite get it. Oh yeah. All right, we got the rear seats all bolted in, harnesses all bolted in. Matt and I did a test on fitment. Looks great. It's time to get started with the fronts. Now, one of my biggest challenges I had with the fronts was how to really connect the waist harness. The shoulder harness, from what you can see, we had to add this bar, which actually didn't really impede a whole lot on the rear sitters. They're able to put one leg on this side of the bar, one leg on this side of the bar. So shoulder straps will go in here for the front seats. But for the front seats for the waist straps, I had to think of an idea of going onto this factory, the factory sliders. I created these, not very complicated by the way. It's just a simple, there's your tab on a 90-degree plate. And then the short side, they go under the factory seats, sit on the bolt. And then you put your factory nuts on top. Easy peasy. Bronco ride. We need like 4 bolts and some nuts, so we figured we'd just take the Bronco. Why not? And the best part is, we still got the factory seat belts. So we got the seats all installed and harnesses installed. Man, they really turned out really well. When you spend as much time and money on a project like this, you really don't need to go without a fire extinguisher. We picked this one up from Sector 7. Has a nice billet mount, fire extinguisher included. We're gonna mount this up too. We wanted to get it in a nice spot where it's reachable by both the driver and any other passenger, easily accessible for the quick release, and also not in the way. So looks like a good spot to me. Good and solid, easy to get on and off. Done. Of course, you've probably seen our top. It is it needs a little bit of work. I mean, you can actually see the fiberglass through the top. So definitely needs a little touch up. I really didn't know what to do. You know, we thought about spray painting it. I've heard that chips off quite a bit. We thought about line Xing it, and that's great, but it's expensive and the texture is really coarse, so it's a little more difficult to clean. And then it came to me. I worked on my boat a few years ago and used this product called Tuff Coat. I had a little bass tracker and I stripped it down and redid the wood and the aluminum, and it turned out really good. It was a light gray. It had a texture to it, But I got to Googling on their website, looking on their website, and they make a smoother texture. So I called up the guys at Tuff Coat and said, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this smooth coat on my Bronco top. What do you think? He's like, oh yeah, we do that all the time. It works really well. It's got great UV protectant. It's good for the top, easy to apply. I already had all the tools to do it, which really isn't a lot of tools. You just need, you can either roll it on or you can do it with a drywall gun. I'd already bought the drywall gun for the boat, so I figured, hey, let's give this a shot. So before we paint it, we're gonna have to, well, kind of prep it for paint. So I really need to get some sandpaper, some 80 grit, and get some 80 grit after it. I'm gonna have to clean up, there's a joint line right here I'm gonna have to clean up, reuse like some body filler and fill it in, sand it real good, and then we'll prime it with the Tuff Coat CP10, and then do it with the do the final application of the rubberized coating. So let's get started. So Tuff Coat is normally used in marine applications for boats, docks, but they've also used it on concrete, Bronco tops, Blazer tops, Carter, and many other uses, outdoor uses. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like. Now that we've got it good and sanded, I'm going to work on some of the spots that need some more filler, and we'll work on that. Then I need to take it out. I'm going to get some of that removed. Taking it out, we're going to have to wash it with some really good degreaser. Degrease it really well. Let it dry. Then I'm going to seal some of these seams up. I mean, if I was going to make this thing smooth and paint it with some really nice glossy paint, I would probably do better than that, but it's going to be semi-textured and covered in pretty thick paint, so I'm not really worried. Now that I got done with that, I'm going to have to let that dry overnight before I wash it. So we got the Bronco top all taped up. I didn't see any reason in really showing that, and it really took me longer than I wanted it to. Prepping for jobs like this is never that fun. So, but we got it taped up. We got some newspaper on the windows, light taped up. Got it decently taped up back here. I'm probably going to use some kind of guard when I'm spraying, just to kind of keep it from getting all over everything. So now let's talk about the primer. So the primer for Tuff Coat for, I believe it's fiberglass, let's see, wood, concrete, fiberglass, and painted surfaces is the CP10. And it's a two-part primer. It's a primer resin and then a primer hardener. And you just mix them 1-to-1 ratio. I'm going to be mixing them in an old coffee can. I'm going to mix them together, and it says mix them with a drill mixer. Now, Tuff Coat also includes very good instructions, step-by-step instructions, exactly what to do. It talks about application, curing time, how to apply the primer, how to apply the final product. So I'm going to get these mixed 1-to-1, and then I'm going to start applying the primer on the top. Look at it, it looks horrible. I do remember when I did the primer before that you kind of go, well, this doesn't seem right at all. It doesn't seem to be laying right. But I promise you, it'll be fine. It's that two-part, it'll harden up. And it's really just there for a primer anyway. And we have to remember that the Tuff Coat that we're actually gonna apply is pretty thick, sprays on pretty thick, and so you're never even gonna know any of this is there. So we got it all primed up. Cure time, it really says about 6 hours, but they highly recommend to go overnight. So I'm gonna let it cure overnight, and it might end up curing for a couple days before I can spray it. But other than that, looks good. Getting steps closer. I'm excited.
See, that's after about an hour. You can already tell it's starting to lay right. It's got a couple white splotches still, but they'll dry up and really look like this, shine, be real nice and tacky. This is after about 3 hours. Man, look at that. A lot different than what it looked like before. It's actually really tacky, really tacky. When I laid it on, it almost looked like milk, but really tacky right now.
Well, we got the Bronco top outside. It rained yesterday, so hopefully we won't have near as much pollen. It is a little windier than I would like it to be, but, well, we gotta do what we gotta do. So first thing we need to do is, we got our hopper gun ready. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. We've got to
use a metal mixing tool to mix the tough coat. Pour it in the hopper gun. It's already primed. Prime is dry, ready to go. Then we see what kind of coverage we get. All right, we got it done. 3 coats. 3 coats, and look at it. It looks amazing. Look at that. Good texture. Good pop on the glass. Or good pop with the rubber side rails. I like it. It's a little more texture than what I wanted, but this stuff's really durable from what I found out in my boat. So I'm pretty pumped. Ready to see it on the Bronco. Gonna have to have some help. They're a little heavy. Okay, so we got the Bronco top done. I put some new seals on it. It was in pretty rough shape. I mean, they're, I don't know, 27 years old or something. So we got the seals done. I've got some help. 1, 2, 3, 5 people. 5 people should do it. It is heavy. I'm glad I'm not doing it by myself. Well, we obviously made it more comfortable with the seats. It looks better with the new vinyl floor. It's quieter in here with the sound deadening. But I decided not to reuse the factory center console. I figured we would go with something a little better, maybe had some secure features, cup holders maybe. So we called up Tuffy. Tuffy recommended their 016 console, which has it's a decent, very large console. Plenty of storage. Has a lock on it so you can lock all your valuables. Comes with a cup holder. Wait a minute, that one's in the back. Maybe we should have mounted it up front. What are we gonna do, babe? Aha, I got an idea. I think Desolate, oh wait, they do. Desolate makes a center console attachment for the 016. Now you're talking. That's a Tuffy 016 lockable box with a Desolate center console. You can do, it's got cup holders. Now we got cup holders for the front, cup holders for the back. You can mount your rugged radio right here with their in-dash mount. Center console, some light switches, couple USB chargers. It's gonna be perfect. So in the console kit from Desolate, they make this support bracket that goes underneath the console and attaches to the transmission tunnel. So since it's free floating, and you have to drill the 3 holes in the transmission tunnel and then drill 2 holes to hold it together. So it's kind of double blind holes. You not only do that, but you have to do these holes, 4 holes in each side, or 2 holes in each side of the console. And then in the console, you got some holes that you're gonna have to drill. So there's a lot of moving parts and stuff was kind of flexing, so it made me a little nervous. I'm gonna go ahead and drill the holes in the floor, which I hope are right. But I got those 3 holes on the transmission tunnel, and then those 4 holes back here to hold the Tuffy box. So we'll go ahead and drill those, make sure there's no wires underneath them, get the vinyl out of the way, then put everything back in and mark the final holes. I went through multiple variations trying to get the center console, the items exactly where I wanted. So I finally settled on what I wanted to do, and I went ahead and cut the holes in it too. We got the radio, which has a flush mount bracket plate. We've got 4 switches. Yep, 2 KC lights, actually 3 KC lights, and then a spare. We've got some underbody lights we're gonna do. A KC light on the windshield and KC light in the grill. Up here is a cell phone charger, 2 USB ports, and then Rugged makes an external speaker. So we'll actually, I cut the bracket a little bit and it'll be mounted right back there. Look really nice and clean. So we're gonna do the Rugged. We've got a cell phone mount, radio mount, cup holders. Here's the USB port. Got a high-speed one for fast charging, which will come in handy.
Eddie Joe, do you like riding in the Bronco? Whoa. So the console all done. Light switches, radio, cell phone mount, external speaker, USB ports. Real nice and clean. Alright, time to put this bad boy in here. Try to do it without scratching anything. So I'll talk about something else real quick. After redoing pretty much this whole Bronco, I realized that the interior light was not up to par. Casey makes a Cyclone, which is a little round. I don't know how many LEDs, 8, 10, or 12 or something. And but I toyed with how to put them in the factory locations. So for the front one, it was pretty easy. Pretty much you take this plastic cover out, and I just took a Dremel and just kind of ground out where the light went and just screwed it in there. Actually looks really good and turned out to be extremely bright. So really good on the inside. Now for the back, I had to do something a little bit different. Just as an idea, we'll kind of show you what that looks like too. So that would be all my cargo lit up, which is much better than what it was from the factory. Hey,
What are you doing here?
here to install light bar. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
When it's all said and done, press brake right there, down, another one right there, down, another one right there, back up. They look pretty sweet. Probably
One at a time.
but
Yep.
I really didn't want to.
I know, right? Good golly. All the covers.
So many. Good God. Look at these sick brackets.
100% race truck.
I love that, dude. That looks so sick. I don't know. Maybe all of them. Golly.
Whoa, that's a lot of light.
I had to go in their race. That means when you see
Golly.
clear, they also
They're so clear, too. Like, the color is amazing.
That is freaking bright.
That is ridiculous. Look at that thing.
It's like daylight over there.
No, you can't see it. I don't think I changed.
So, as you can tell, we did a lot of stuff to the Bronco. Really dressed up the interior, got the light bar. This thing's ready to rock. Except for the engine is not running. So, when I was doing all my diagnostic stuff, man, I did everything. You know, you think, well, it's just a fuel issue. Fuel pressure was good. You're like, okay, well, maybe it's timing. I checked timing 1, 2, 3. I can't tell you how many times. A dozen times, check timing. Okay, well, maybe it's the timing chain. Nope, replace the timing chain. Didn't fix it. Cam and crank were lined up perfectly. Okay, maybe it's the distributor. Replace the distributor. Nope. Ignition control module. Nope. Coil. Nope. Maybe it's bad fuel. Drain to the tank. Put new fuel in. Flush the lines. Replace the filter. Still no go. We are left to, I don't know. We got on the trailer. I'm gonna take it back to my house. I'm gonna pull the engine. Maybe it's a broken crank or something internal that I just couldn't do here. I'm gonna take it home, try to get that done, and then we'll stab this thing back in here. Or maybe not.
Or we can just LS swap it like we should have the first time.